I've always told myself I liked the night shift. Nights are quieter. No lines, no chatter, no small talk. Just the soft buzz of the fluorescent lights, the hum of the coolers, and the faint smell of detergent mixed with stale coffee. Silence can be comforting. At least it used to be. Lately, silence feels like something holding its breath, waiting. Miller's Mart sits on the edge of town, a 24-hour convenience store off the highway. We get mostly truckers and the occasional drunk college kid. It's a small town, safe enough, the kind of place where nothing really happens. I thought that was what I wanted. Quiet, boring, safe. That night started like any other. I poured myself another cup of burnt coffee, checked the clock, 11:42 p.m. Rain drummed softly on the windows. The red glow of the neon sign outside flickered and painted the wet asphalt in bleeding color. That's when I noticed it. A black car parked out front, engine off, no headlights, just sitting there. Its windows were fogged up, but I could tell someone was inside. I figured maybe a trucker stopped to rest or someone making a late phone call. I didn't think much of it. 20 minutes passed. The car didn't move. At 12:03, the door chime dinged. A man walked in. Tall, wearing a black coat and a faded gray hoodie underneath. His shoes were soaked. His head was slightly bowed, shadowing his face. "Evening," I said automatically. He didn't answer. He wandered between the aisles slowly, like he wasn't really shopping, just looking. His footsteps were quiet, steady. Every now and then, I felt his eyes on me. When I looked up, he'd turn away. 10 minutes passed. He didn't buy anything. He just stood at the magazine rack by the register, pretending to flip through a magazine but not turning any pages. "Need any help finding something?" I asked, forcing a polite smile. "No," he said finally in a low, soft voice. "Just looking." Those two words lodged themselves in my head. Just looking. He lingered a bit longer, then left. The chime above the door rang again, and the cold air rushed in behind him, but he didn't get in the car. He just walked across the road and disappeared into the dark. I told myself it was nothing. People are weird sometimes. Still, that night, every little sound in the store made me jump. The next evening, I checked the security footage. His car had been there since 10 p.m. It showed him walking in, but never walking out. The door chime sounded on the audio, but on camera, he never appeared again. He just vanished. I stared at the screen for a long time. Maybe the camera glitched. Maybe I was overthinking it. But the unease sat in my stomach like cold metal. Days passed without a sign of him. I convinced myself I'd imagined the whole thing. Until Friday. Fridays were busier. A group of teenagers came in for beer. A couple of regulars bought gas. I was halfway through counting change when I looked up and saw him. Same black coat, same gray sweatpants. Standing in the back aisle, staring. Not at the shelves, not at the products, at me. I froze. Our eyes met and he smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was knowing, like he was in on a secret I didn't understand. When the last customer left, I expected him to come to the register. He didn't. He walked straight out the door. And yet, when I glanced at the glass window behind the counter, I saw a reflection, my own, and just over my shoulder, his silhouette. A shape that shouldn't have been there. I spun around. Empty aisles. That night, I found a note in my mailbox at home, a single sheet of paper. Your eyes change color when you're scared. My hands shook as I read it. No signature, just that sentence in neat, even handwriting. I told myself it was a prank. But the next morning, Carl, my manager, said, "Hey, Laura, is everything okay?" Some guy was outside waiting before you came in. He drove off when I got here. That feeling of dread I'd been pushing down finally surfaced. I thought about quitting, but rent doesn't pay itself. So I went in that night, hoping it would be uneventful. I didn't turn on the radio this time. The silence felt safer. The first half hour was fine. Then the door chimed. It was him. He walked straight up to the counter this time, holding a bouquet of wilted white roses. "These are for you," he said. His voice was flat, calm, polite. "I don't want them," I said, trying to sound firm but failing. "I know," he said, and smiled. "I brought them anyway." He placed the flowers on the counter and turned to leave. Before walking out, he dragged a finger across the glass door, drawing a small heart in the condensation. Then he was gone. I stared at that heart until it faded. I didn't call the police. What would I say? A customer brought me flowers? They'd laugh. A week passed. The nightmares started. Seeing him in the corner of the aisles, behind the glass doors, in the flicker of the camera feed. Sometimes I'd wake up convinced someone had been standing outside my window. One morning, I found a note tucked under my car's windshield wiper. "The cameras can't save you, Laura." That night, I called the police. 2 officers came. We watched the security footage together. A black car appeared almost every night, parked in the same spot for hours. But the plates were unreadable. The screen glitched whenever the headlights flashed. "Could it be someone you know?" one officer asked. I shook my head. "No, I don't know anyone here." After they left, the quiet returned, heavier than before. A few nights later, I noticed the same black car behind me as I drove to work. It followed me all the way down the highway, keeping a steady distance. When I pulled into the parking lot, it stopped a few spaces back. I sprinted inside and locked the door. My breath fogged up the glass. The car just sat there, engine running, headlights off. 1:14 a.m. The rain started again. I turned off the lights, hoping he'd think the store was closed. I killed the radio. The only sound was the rain against the glass. Then came the metallic click. Someone was testing the door handle. My chest tightened. I backed toward the stockroom and grabbed my phone. 911. "Someone's trying to get in," I whispered. "Please, hurry." The dispatcher's voice was calm. "Stay where you are, ma'am." "Units are on their way." Then the line went dead. No signal, footsteps, inside the store. Slow, deliberate. I crouched behind the stockroom door and peeked through the gap. He was there, moving between the aisles. In his hand, something glinted. A knife? Or maybe a piece of pipe. I couldn't tell. His voice was almost gentle. "I'm not here to hurt you," he murmured. "I just want to watch." My vision blurred with panic. I ran, knocked over a shelf, glass shattering. He turned toward me, our eyes met for a split second. His face was expressionless, but his pupils were huge, black, empty. I bolted for the counter, slammed my hand on the panic button. Nothing. No alarm, and then sirens. Red and blue lights flashing through the rain. He froze, like an animal caught in headlights, then sprinted for the door. I heard the crash of glass, the rush of wind, and he was gone. By the time the officers entered, I was on the floor, shaking. My palms were bleeding from broken glass. They searched the lot, the woods, the road. No car, no footprints. They told me to take some time off. I didn't argue. I quit a week later. Packed up my apartment, moved 2 towns over. New job, new store. But sometimes, during the night shift, when the parking lot is empty and the hum of the coolers fills the silence, the sensor above the door gives a soft, familiar ding. I look up. No one's there. Still, I can't help but whisper under my breath, to no one in particular, "Please, just keep looking."